Celebrities are often held in high regard by the public, posted on billboards, magazines, across social media. They are thought to have the perfect life others can only dream of. This video will show what can really be going on. We will look at the times celebrities have found themselves on the wrong side of the law and ended up in jail. Some crimes the people on this list committed may surprise or shock you. Let's explore the top 10. Suge Knight. Suge Knight was once the most feared man in hip-hop. As co-founder of Death Row Records, he built an empire that launched legends like Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Tupac Shakur. But behind the platinum albums and millions of dollars lurked a darker truth. Knight's intimidation tactics were legendary. He allegedly dangled Vanilla Ice over a hotel balcony to secure publishing rights. He strong-armed artists with threats and violence, turning Death Row into both a record label and a criminal enterprise. The violence escalated throughout the 1990s. Knight was linked to the East Coast-West Coast rap feud that claimed Tupac's life in 1996. Multiple assault charges piled up, along with probation violations that sent him in and out of prison. But January 29, 2015 changed everything. During a confrontation at a Compton burger stand, Knight struck two men with his truck, killing Terry Carter and injuring Clee Bone Sloan. He claimed self-defense, but surveillance footage told a different story. In September 2018, Knight pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter. The judge sentenced him to 28 years in prison. At 53 years old, the man who once ruled hip-hop will likely die behind bars, his empire reduced to a cautionary tale. Were you an East Coast or West Coast fan? Let me know in the comments. At just 19, Elizabeth Holmes dropped out of Stanford with a revolutionary promise. A single drop of blood could run hundreds of medical tests. By 30, she was the world's youngest female billionaire, gracing magazine covers as the next Steve Jobs. But it was all built on lies. Holmes founded Theranos in 2003, claiming her Edison machines could revolutionize healthcare. She spoke in an unnaturally deep voice, wore black turtlenecks, and convinced investors she'd cracked the code of blood testing. The reality? Her technology never worked. Behind closed doors, Theranos was faking test results. They diluted tiny blood samples and ran them on traditional machines, often producing dangerously inaccurate results that put patients at risk. Whistleblowers tried to expose the fraud, but Holmes silenced them with lawsuits and intimidation. When the truth finally emerged in 2015, the $9 billion company collapsed overnight. Holmes was charged with wire fraud and conspiracy, accused of deceiving investors, patients, and doctors for over a decade. In January 2022, a jury found her guilty on 4 counts of fraud. The judge sentenced her to 11 years and 3 months in federal prison. The woman who promised to change the world became Silicon Valley's most notorious fraudster, proving that sometimes the biggest innovations exist only in our imagination. Todd and Julie Chrisley. Todd and Julie Chrisley lived like royalty on reality TV. Their USA Network show, Chrisley Knows Best, showcased their lavish Georgia mansion, designer clothes, and picture-perfect family. But behind the cameras, America's favorite TV patriarch was orchestrating a massive financial fraud. The Chrisleys' glamorous lifestyle was built on lies. From 2007 to 2012, they submitted fake bank statements and tax returns to secure over $30 million in fraudulent loans. They inflated their income, fabricated assets, and even used shell companies to hide their schemes. When banks started investigating, the couple didn't slow down, they doubled down. They filed for bankruptcy while secretly moving millions to hidden accounts. Todd's accountant helped them submit false tax returns, claiming refunds on income they never earned. The FBI finally caught up in 2019. Federal prosecutors painted a picture of two people addicted to wealth and fame, willing to steal to maintain their facade. During the trial, evidence revealed years of systematic deception that funded their reality TV empire. In November 2022, Todd received 12 years in federal prison, while Julie got 7 years. The couple who preached family values became convicted felons, proving that even reality TV's most wholesome families can hide the darkest secrets behind their million-dollar smiles. In May 2025, the Chrysleys were released from prison after receiving a pardon from President Donald Trump. What do you think of their release? Sean Kingston once ruled the charts with hits like Beautiful Girls and Fire Burning. But the Jamaican-American rapper traded his platinum records for prison bars after orchestrating a devastating million-dollar fraud scheme that would make even the best con artists jealous. From April 2023 to March 2024, Kingston used social media to contact luxury vendors, leveraging his celebrity status to gain their trust. He invited sellers to his upscale Broward County mansions, creating an atmosphere of wealth and legitimacy that made victims feel safe. The scheme was brilliantly simple yet devastatingly effective. Kingston and his mother targeted high-end businesses, ordering jewelry, luxury beds, exotic cars, and even a micro-LED TV. They promised payment through wire transfers, but the transfers were completely fraudulent or worthless. When payment was due, Kingston or his mother would text victims fake wire receipts. When the money never materialized, desperate vendors filed lawsuits or contacted law enforcement. The party ended with a dramatic SWAT team raid on his rented mansion in 2024. In January 2025, Kingston was sentenced to 3.5 years in federal prison plus 3 years supervised release. The man who once sang about beautiful girls now faces the harsh reality that his greatest hit was also his final performance. DMX Earl Simmons, better known as DMX, barked his way to the top of hip-hop with raw intensity and platinum records. But behind the aggressive lyrics and commanding stage presence was a man trapped in a cycle of crime that would define his life as much as his music. DMX's criminal record reads like a rap sheet from hell. Arrested more than 30 times throughout his lifetime for various offenses, including criminal possession of a weapon, robbery, assault, carjacking, animal cruelty, reckless driving, driving under the influence, unlicensed driving, drug possession, probation violation, and failure to pay child support. He seemed unable to escape the streets that made him. His most bizarre arrest involved posing as an FBI agent, while a 2008 investigation uncovered weapons, drugs, and neglected pit bull puppies at his home. But his biggest downfall came from something seemingly simple: taxes. From 2010 to 2016, DMX evaded taxes, essentially going off the grid financially while earning hundreds of thousands. Prosecutors sought 5 years, citing his lengthy rap sheet and drug problems. In 2018, he received 1 year in prison and 3 years supervised release, plus $2.2 million in restitution to the IRS. The man who gave us X Gon Give It To Ya ultimately gave everything to his demons, proving that even hip-hop legends aren't immune to self-destruction. Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart built an empire teaching Americans how to live beautifully. From perfect dinner parties to flawless home decor, she was the queen of domestic perfection. But in 2004, America's favorite homemaker became its most shocking white-collar criminal. The scandal centered on 3,928 shares of IMPLY stock that Stewart sold in December 2001, just 1 day before the FDA rejected the company's cancer drug application. Stewart saved herself $45,673 by dumping the stock before it plummeted, but that small fortune would cost her everything. Prosecutors allege Stewart received inside information from her broker, Sam Waxall, IMPLY's CEO and Stewart's friend. When investigators came calling, Stewart's story kept changing. She claimed she had a pre-existing sell order at $60 per share, but phone records and witness testimony painted a different picture. The media frenzy was unprecedented. America watched their domestic goddess face charges of conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and securities fraud. Despite maintaining her innocence, a jury convicted Stewart on 4 counts in March 2004. Her sentence shocked the nation: 5 months in federal prison, 5 months house arrest, and 2 years probation. The woman who taught America how to fold fitted sheets perfectly learned that some mistakes can't be smoothed over, no matter how good you are at making everything look perfect. Mark Wahlberg, before Mark Wahlberg was dropping good vibrations as Marky Mark or starring in blockbusters, he was terrorizing the streets of Boston as a violent racist thug. His transformation from criminal to movie star is one of Hollywood's most shocking redemption stories. Growing up in Dorchester, Wahlberg was addicted to cocaine by age 13 and leading a gang by 15. His rap sheet from the 1980s reads like a hate crime manual. At 16, he hurled rocks at African-American schoolchildren while screaming racial slurs. The next day, he attacked more black children at the beach. But his most notorious crime came in 1988. The 16-year-old Wahlberg brutally assaulted two Vietnamese men in separate incidents, calling one a racial slur before beating him unconscious with a wooden stick. He punched the second victim in the eye, partially blinding him. Charged with attempted murder, Wahlberg ultimately pleaded guilty to assault and served 45 days in jail, a slap on the wrist for such vicious attacks. Years later, Hollywood embraced him as a leading man worth hundreds of millions. While Wahlberg has expressed remorse and built a successful career, his victims still bear the scars. It's a reminder that fame and fortune can rewrite history, but they can't erase the past. Does your opinion of Mark Wahlberg change after hearing this? Let me know in the comments. Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton was the ultimate early 2000s icon, blonde, rich, and famous for being famous. She ruled reality TV, dropped catchphrases like, "That's hot," and lived a life most could only dream of. But behind the designer dresses and red carpet glamour, Paris was quietly building a criminal record that would shock the world. It started with a simple traffic stop in 2006. Hilton was arrested for DUI in West Hollywood, her blood alcohol level dangerously above the legal limit. She pleaded no contest to reckless driving, receiving 36 months probation, a $1,500 fine, and mandatory alcohol education classes. But Paris couldn't stay out of trouble. She violated her probation multiple times, failing to enroll in alcohol education, driving with a suspended license, and getting caught speeding 70 mph in a 35 mph zone without headlights. The consequences were swift and brutal. In May 2007, she was sentenced to 45 days in jail for probation violations. The media circus was unprecedented as America's princess traded her tiara for an orange jumpsuit. After serving just 3 days, she was released to house arrest due to an undisclosed medical condition, sparking outrage about celebrity privilege. The heiress who once said jail wasn't cute learned that money can't always buy freedom, though apparently it can rent early release. What do you think of celebrities receiving special treatment in the legal system? Amy Locane. Amy Locane was living the Hollywood dream. She starred alongside Johnny Depp in Cry Baby and graced the small screen in the hit series Melrose Place. But on June 27, 2010, the actress's life took a devastating turn that would haunt her forever. That night in Montgomery Township, New Jersey, Locane was driving drunk when she slammed into a car turning into a driveway. The impact killed 60-year-old Helene Seaman instantly and severely injured her husband, Fred. What should have been a quiet evening for the Seaman family became an unimaginable tragedy. Locane's blood alcohol level was nearly 3 times the legal limit. She was convicted of vehicular manslaughter, but her legal saga was far from over. Her case became a judicial nightmare, with multiple sentences and appeals that dragged on for over a decade. Initially sentenced to just 3 years in prison, prosecutors and the victim's family fought the lenient punishment. The judge was criticized for being too sympathetic, citing concerns for Locane's young daughters. In 2020, a different judge delivered justice. Saying Locane still refused to fully acknowledge her responsibility, Judge Angela Borkowski sentenced her to 8 years in state prison. The actress who once played in a fictional drama finally faced the real-life consequences of her deadly choices. Tim Allen before Tim the Tool Man. Taylor was grunting his way through Home Improvement. Tim Allen was living a double life that would make his sitcom seem like a documentary. The man who had become America's beloved TV dad was once one of Michigan's most prolific cocaine dealers. In the late 1970s, Allen wasn't building entertainment empires. He was building drug networks. Fresh out of college, he dove headfirst into cocaine trafficking, moving serious weight across the Midwest. His operation was sophisticated, profitable, and completely illegal. Everything came crashing down on October 2, 1978, at Kalamazoo or Battle Creek International Airport. Federal agents caught Allen red-handed with over 1.5 pounds of pure cocaine, enough to land him life in prison under Michigan's harsh drug laws. Facing a potential life sentence, Allen made a decision that saved his career but destroyed relationships. He became a federal informant. He provided information on his suppliers and associates, helping authorities dismantle the very network he'd helped build. His cooperation paid off dramatically. Instead of life behind bars, Allen received just 2 years and 4 months in federal prison. Released in 1981, he traded drugs for dealing punchlines, transforming from a convicted felon to family-friendly comedian. Few knew that behind every grunt and tool joke was a man who'd betrayed his criminal partners to save himself. Not all celebrities live the perfect life. Some have turned a checkered past into an amazing career. Others have had an amazing career and then let fame and fortune destroy them. One thing is certain, and that is that what we see on the silver screen and across social media isn't always what is playing out behind closed doors. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.